Hello. Yes, that is what I look like. I ordinarily this unhealthy computer complexion thing wouldn't happen, but I don't have any good lighting that I can do, and there's no sun because it's winter. So I have my computer is much brighter than the lights in my room. It makes me look real pale. Uh, can everyone hear me? Okay, that's the big thing. I jumped on early just to make sure. Thank you. Yeah, got this is a good day for my glasses. That is the fourth compliment I've got on my glasses today. Two at Whole Foods where I was buying sauce, and one from Starbucks where I was buying sauce, coffee sauce. A bit low. I can move this a little bit here. I can change that a little bit. We adjusted some settings last episode to do tear tracks, which actually I'll go ahead and just start recording now, so I get this stuff for the audio version, which I'm not sure what I'll do with that. But tear tracks, I wasn't sure about how many of those there were. I have all of them. There's just two. There's the werewolf one and the vampire one. The vampire one, which we haven't done, apparently has video. I'm pretty excited about that bad boy. There were four of them planned, one with a mummy and one with I think a Frankenstein, but those other two didn't come out. So there's references to them online, but not like the art. You can't actually find them. They don't seem to exist. So I think that I've just got the collection, which is pretty cool. It'll be a little while before we do another one of those, and now that I know how long they are, I'll definitely end up budgeting time better for them. Yeah, so it'll be a little while before we do this. I wanted to do this. This seemed fun to me to do this Call of Cthulhu dealy before we actually crack into Fighting Fantasy. You're welcome, Wink. That season of Bonfireside Chat ends in a dark place and then gets good again right before the off season thing. Forgive me if any of my words slur or anything like that. I'm also going to take frequent drinks of water because, as I was talking about on Twitter, I had some dentistry done and they fucked up my teeth. My gums are all swollen and sore on this side, and it hurts real bad, but it doesn't hurt that much to talk. So now that it is indeed 3 o'clock, we can get started. Welcome to Choose Your Illusion 2. This is episode 5 of the show. At some point, I'll do something with these as far as putting them online. I am recording audio for all of them. And today, we are doing Grimrock Isle. This could last a couple weeks. I don't know exactly. This is Grimrock Isle. It is a chilling solo adventure and campaign book in one for the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game system. It is 5th edition, so everyone's going to have to be patient with me as I either fudge or look up some rules for 5th edition. It's been a long time since I played 5th edition Call of Cthulhu. And this came in a folder. This is a folder. It came with some books in it, which I have off to the side. Inside this was a used copy. Enjoy your stay, Michael Himnowski, author, under it. Which I didn't actually read that before now. So it actually looks like maybe this is signed by the author. That is pretty cool. I might have something slightly rarer than I thought I did. Let's see if I can find an author on this anywhere. Because it doesn't, it's a really weird book, a set of books. So these are all the little books that are the different locations in Grimrock Isle. And you go through as a choose your own adventure thing, doing tests and such. And it's, if you succeed in this test, go here. If you fail in this test, go here. And in a very Call of Cthulhu-esque fashion, I am not trying to defeat the monsters. I am trying to gain research points to know what happened. So last night, I made my character. This is Professor Phineas Knott. He is a professor. I didn't fill in the rest of this stuff. Let's go ahead and add in that stuff. Hopefully everyone can see all that stuff okay. He is a professor of anthropology. So he's got masters. We'll do Miskatonic, of course. And we'll have him born in my hometown of DeKalb, Illinois, for no particular reason. No mental disorders yet. That will come up. And this game is really weird. There is a mechanic in place. Let me actually open up a word pad here so I can take notes. Where we're tracking time, and we're also tracking money. Now, when I was doing this, I rolled on the money thing way more than any professor would ever make, having $100,000 and $10,000 cash, and this is 1920s money, so it's pretty insane. So I'm going to go ahead and ignore that and just go with the per diem. I don't really know, since I haven't read ahead, what makes sense for an amount of money, but limited resources are part of the adventure. So I don't want to just give myself unlimited money. You can see the skills I gave him. He's pretty good at anthropology and natural history. That's what he teaches. Okay, at bargaining, good credit rating, because I did have that huge money score. A little bit nimble from when he was younger. Had kind of a wild past. Fast talk. He's very persuasive. He's a charming teacher. You can see he's kind of a hunk. History, pretty good at history. Good at using the library. Good ears. Like he is. I imagined him as this kind of popular professor who the students really really liked, regardless of whether he was liked at the university. Pretty persuasive. This other language this is supposed to be German. There we go. It's up there. Own language is actually English. That's what I wanted to put there. So natural history, psychology, from talking to people, spot hidden. That's just from being observant. And has used a gun before. His parents were hunters in rural Illinois. He has a gun as well. This creating or this Bayaki, which is the name of a monster, thing does not actually allow me to put in inventory here. So I'll be keeping track of that on a separate sheet. But he does have a gun with him that he takes, because the adventure I read just ahead just a tiny little bit, and it does presume that you are a paranormal investigator. So this is not his first rodeo. This is the only thing that I had here to kind of start out, that tells you just kind of your instructions. In danger again, you can't really read that. Acknowledgements. The big thing here is that timetable thing, and I'm hesitant to write on this just because if it is signed by the author, and Riff was trying to find it and could not find a physical copy or PDF anywhere, so it might be very rare as a thing. I don't know, so I'm not going to write on it. I'm going to use notes instead. So we have a timetable though. Like, businesses are only open at certain times. We have to sleep. We have to eat. The rules are, for every 24 hours, you have to sleep 6 hours. And you have to eat 2 meals a day. Each one takes an hour. And if you don't do that, there are statistical penalties. So it's actually kind of intense. We'll see how this goes. I'll ask for everyone's patience as I try to stumble through some of the things. But mostly I just want to find cool cults and monsters on Grimrock Isle, and we'll see if we do. And like I said, we're just going for an hour today, so this might end up getting finished up over the course of a couple weeks. I don't know, but we're gonna start here with, and I'll show you guys illustrations as they show up as best I can. So this is Dove's Bay is the first book. That's where we start. This little isle looks very quaint. The back does have a map, which I imagine I will have to reference from time to time. And I have a whole stack of handouts over here, letters and things like that. It also came with this. This is a rata. This is a little choose your own adventure thing that goes in one of the books. So the set I bought was complete. This is the thing that just kind of starts off telling me about the game. Also, to keep pace, I will probably only check in with the chat as far as what to do. If I'm not sure, I'm going to try to RP it as much as I can. And yeah. Yeah, we get those research points. So that's determines our score. We can actually go insane as well. And if we do, there is a list of 1d10 insanities we can get. I have my dice here, and I have my Monster My Podcast dice bag that Level Coast and friend of mine, Jolliff Prendez, had made for me on Cole. So happy to get those out. So we'll start here. This is the sound advice from the author. Think. Careful planning and thoughtful strategy can do you a great service and cost none of your valuable time. Make the best use of your time, especially when visiting Dove's Bay locations. Organize sleep and meal times and keep track of business hours. Plan on running into a few false leads. Try to know who your friends are and make use of them. Exercise caution and take nothing at face value. Remember that on this case, you are completely on your own. There are no fellow investigators to back you up or pull your fat from the fire if you make an error in judgment. Don't eat the apple pie at the Seaside Tavern. So let's not do that. Jolly didn't make them; she had them made. But you can check with her and see how that happened. Let's begin Grimrock Isle and see how this goes. Here goes nothing, guys. To begin, the radiant sun of an August morning beats down on the roof of your fiver as you chug into the sleepy little seaside town of Dove's Bay. Like every other coastal town in Maine, this is first and foremost a fishing village, although it is also quite popular as a summer hideaway of the idle rich, whose estates dot the craggy coastline around the bay. All in all, it looks as perfect as a picture postcard. With a good night's sleep and a full 7 a.m. breakfast behind you, you feel well prepared for the case upon which you are going to embark. As you wend your way through the quaint village streets, you review the information that you already have in your possession, as set forth in the letter you received early this week. You may now read handout GI1. So, here's the feelie I've got. This is the letter, and I'll read this. Dear, so it has a place so I can write in if I want to. Dear Professor Phineas Knott, when I first read about you in the New England Journal of Parapsychology, I knew that you were the very person who could help me. I own a real estate business in Dove's Bay, Maine, and I have made quite a good living reselling the various summer cottages and estates which make up the town. However, there's one property, one of the larger estates, that I simply cannot sell, and I think you can help me accomplish that. You see, for years now, the old grim house of Grimrock Isle has had the reputation of being haunted. Several realtors before me have attempted to handle the property, but these persistent rumors made it impossible for them, and now for me as well. I would very much like to commission you to investigate Grim House, and, one way or another, clear it of its dark reputation so that I might unload it, as they say. I would be willing to pay $50 per day for your services, plus a fee equaling 10% of the estate's sale price at such a time as it is purchased through me. I estimate that on today's market, the estate will sell for well over $1 million. If this offer is acceptable, please call me at 555-3693, and I will arrange accommodations for you and any assistance you might deem necessary for this case. I anxiously await your call. Sincerely, Tobias Armbruster. All right. So, a good old haunted house adventure. Also of note, the rules for Choose Your Illusion 2 are immutable. So, if I die, that's the end of the adventure. I'm going to keep reading this stuff, but it'll be just for me. Because, again, I feel like this project is only cool if we follow that rule. Okay. Your thoughts now in order. You pull up to the curb before a small colonial college whose mailbox bears the name Dove's Bay Realty. You step out of the car into a clear, bright day laced with the salty tang of the sea. Yet, for all this, you cannot shake a vague sense of oppression, which you realize has been with you since you drove into town. You feel as if you are being watched, and that the one that watches you is not a friend. Perhaps it is merely a nervous reaction nurtured by your past investigations into the realm of the paranormal, or perhaps it's something more. Shaking yourself free of this foreboding mood, you force your thoughts back to the business at hand. You have much to do, and very little time in which to do it. Squaring your shoulders, you open the door to the realty office and step confidently inside. You begin your investigation. Turn to entry 1. Entry 1, Doves Bay Realty. Doves Bay Realty consists of a single large office which takes up the whole of the cottage's floor space. Filing cabinets and bookcases line the walls, though occasional oil paintings of seascapes and sailing vessels break the monotony. Near the back of the office stands a large mahogany desk behind which sits a stocky, white-haired gentleman of middle years, who can be none other than Tobias Armbruster. As he raises to shake your hand, you introduce yourself. "Ah, yes," Armbruster beams, "and right on time as well. Please be seated." After a brief exchange of pleasantries, Armbruster offers you the details on the case. You may now consult handout GI2. Yeah, I'm gonna eat that pie if it comes up. I gotta like I don't know how I can avoid that pie. GI2, Armbruster's information. "I don't know what I can tell you that you can't learn in greater detail elsewhere, but at least I can give you the gist of the situation. Grimm House was built by Lazarus Grimm, who lived there with his wife and servants. The wife died not long after they moved in, and a few years after that, Lazarus was killed in a fire set by a mob of angry townsfolk, who for some unknown reason accused him of witchcraft. The fire damage was never repaired, and that just makes the job of selling it more difficult. From that time on, there have been several owners who have moved into the property, but none have stayed for more than a year, and many hinted at disturbing experiences. They all reported strange noises, weird lights, and the like, which eventually drove them from the house. Of course, they all requested that such information be kept from the potential buyers, not wanting to reduce the property values. There have been several disappearances associated with the estate, the most recent being the case of 3 college youths who supposedly rode out to the island one night and were never seen again. Also, the estate seems to be unhealthy for certain individuals. It's said that 1 or 2 have even died because of it. Fact and fiction have become too entangled over the years, and now everyone is convinced that Grimm House is haunted, and the folks around here don't much mind saying so to any prospective buyers who come into town. This must stop." Armbruster opens a desk drawer and removes a thick envelope. He hands it to you. Inside is a ring of large ornate keys and $100 in assorted bills. So I'm going to mark down my inventory here. My sheet off to the side. You cannot see this, but I'm not going to cheat. That would be silly. The keys to Grimm House and your expense money, the realtor explains. "Remember, you have 2 weeks from today to produce results, or else our contract will be voided, and I will owe you nothing more. Now, I suggest you get settled in and down to business. I've taken the liberty of informing Miss Gordon of your arrival, and she has a room prepared for you that I think you'll find most comfortable. Thank you for coming, and good luck to you." When you've completed your assignment or are ready to leave Doves Bay, you must report to Mr. Armbruster at point 17. Make sure to note this entry number so you'll not forget it. Okay? Entry 17 when we're done. So it seems like we have to try to figure out what's going on, and then just when we have a good guess, have enough research points, that's when we decide to end. Uh, 15 minutes to begin. So, and 1 research point we get just for that information. Now we can go to any location on Doves Bay. Interesting. So, boy, there are quite a few here on the back. Carter Drive, Rice Drive, Dunsany Drive, of course, Derleth Drive, of course, Block Road, Belknap Street. These are all names of weird fiction authors. Hitchcock Road, Hodgins, LaRue, McRaman, Howard, Mackin, Campbell, King, Ashton, Barker, Wilson, Blackwood, Serling, and Ichabod Lane. There's all these different locations. It seems like we should go to check in with Miss Gordon and drop off our stuff. But I don't know if that's... I don't know what street that she lives on. It didn't give us that information for some reason. I never see any of Doves Bay location. Okay. And I think this is on Carter Drive, just based on it being number 1 on the map here, and that being entry 1. That would make sense. So let's go. How do we do things? So I thought, bear with me. So on the back, on the map key, number 2, it shows which one is Rice Drive, but entry 2 has us respond. I can see right here responding to a knock on the door. So how do I know? You may now proceed to any Doves Bay location. Where do I see the list of Doves Bay locations? Oh, hey, Doves Bay directory in the beginning. So we've got Doves Bay Realty. Is open 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. I love this. 15 minutes travel time between locations. Mrs. Gordon's boarding house. That's where we're staying. So if we want to check in, we can do that. City Hall, Public Library, open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Library seems like a good place to start, actually. City Hall as well to check records. Doves Bay Gazette, newspaper. Excellent. Wade's boat rentals. We're not ready to go out anywhere yet. Seaside Tavern, only 4 p.m. to midnight, Monday through Saturday, so not open yet. Doves Bay Church is open 24 hours. Doc Bloomfield's 24 hours. The Sheriff's Office 24 hours. Jebediah Waddles, not Waits, whoa. Waddles, Clovis Block, Cemetery, The Bridge, Orchard, Lighthouse, and Cave are all individual books. Okay. So what are you thinking? Yeah, and going to the actual house itself. So we need to rent a boat there, I would think. So before I go to the house, I'm gonna do some research. And I'm gonna go. Let's go to the library first. This being Call of Cthulhu. So not to rebuke your idea of going to the house, but partly because I don't see it in here as a list thing. It might be a thing where we have to go from the boat rental entry, since it is on an island, which was implied before. So let's check out the library on page 88. Or entry 88, rather. And we'll be able to roll some dice, because we'll probably be able to use some dice roll. So we got 1 research point for the thing. We spent 15 minutes to that, which means that it is now 12:15. Okay. The Charles Public Library. For each hour that we spend here, we may research 1 subject, and you must observe the library's hours and leave promptly at closing time at 9 p.m. To research a subject, you must make a successful library use roll per subject. You cannot roll twice for the same subject on the same visit, but you may return again. So these are our different things we can check out. Local history, Lazarus Grimm, the occult, or other. Now, we have a pretty decent library use roll. So we have 70 in library rules, and it's only 12:15. I think it is worth spending this afternoon at least doing those relevant things. So let's go ahead and check out Lazarus Grimm first. So it's an hour. So let me update my time thing. 1:15 and make my roll. So it's now 1:15. In Call of Cthulhu, you roll under. So you can see on my character sheet here, these are percentages. I'm rolling a D100 and getting below that. So I rolled a 63. My library use is 70, so I'm below by 7. So that's a success. And now we can go to Lazarus Grimm. And check out and see what the library has to say about that. And we'll probably get some research points for this, I imagine, which is good. Okay. I may read handout G114, and we get 15 research points. So let me go ahead and mark the library here. Sorry about the shuffling. So G114. Update my total research points to 16. Hey, Darkstrider. You're watching someone pretend to do library research. So that's the exciting thing you got here. Okay. Grimm, Lazarus, 1806 to 1846. Born in Weymouth, Massachusetts, Grimm spent his youth on the Boston docks, where he signed on aboard a merchantman at the age of 16. By the age of 25, Grimm was given his own ship, and when the company he worked for went bankrupt, he was able to purchase the vessel and go into business for himself. Captain Grimm plied the Pacific for the next 10 years, during which he amassed a considerable fortune, though the nature of his cargo was never known. This proved to be the source of a certain amount of unflattering speculation, reinforced by the fact that his clients were all of a most unsavory nature. Fishmen, fishmen. 15 research points is not tons. You need 275, I think, to get the best ending. Upon retirement, Captain Grimm commissioned the construction of Grimm House. This is located on a small island on the off the coast of Maine, near the small fishing village of Dove's Bay. There he moved with his wife Alma and his household staff, consisting of 3 Polynesian servants, whom it is assumed Captain Grimm acquired on his travels through the Pacific. In the fall of 1846, Mr. Grimm was presumed to have been killed in an attack on his estate by a band of locals, who for some reason blamed him for the difficulties being experienced by the village at that time. No bodies were ever discovered, nor was any trace of either Lazarus Grimm or his servants ever found. Therefore, the date of his death can only be an approximation based on existing facts. And this is under the heading Lesser-Known Residents of New England. I can't not make it sound sexy. Okay, so it's 1:15. This gives us, so we learned a little bit about him. What's the pertinent facts here? I'm going to take notes as well, since this will probably be a multi-week adventure. So, important things. Unsavory customers. Polynesians. No bodies. No death date certain. I'm not going to write down the dates. I'll go back and reference those if I need them. I hate dates and things. Timelines are like my kryptonite. So we're back in the library. I think it is worth doing some extra research here. We're getting research points, which we're going to need to get the decent ending no matter what. It's Monday. It's still in the afternoon. It's only 1:15, so we have some time before anything closes. The other place I'd like to hit today is City Hall. And City Hall closes not until 5 p.m. So we got some time. Yeah, local history was I was thinking as well. So that is go to page 60, or go to entry 69. Nice. Let me... So it is now 2:30. And let me make my roll. 70 exactly, which counts as a success in Call of Cthulhu. Local history, 69. Nice. You may read handout G112. If you make a successful library use roll, you may spend another 15 minutes at entry 47. So it looks like we have to make another roll after we read this to get a little bit more. If anybody in the chat wants to catch Dark Zidar up, you can. You haven't missed very much. So GI12. The great storm of All Hallows Eve in the year of 1846 marked a time of great strife and hardship for the people of Dove's Bay, who, depending on the sea for their livelihood, were devastated by the damage wrought by the storm upon their ships and equipment. Resentment of the wealthy estate owners, who used Dove's Bay as a summer home, grew in direct proportion to the strife of the villagers. At times, this resentment boiled over into violence. The police reports of that time show a marked increase in the number of vandalisms, all unsolved, and all directed at those whose summer cottages were well-to-do. There were only two occasions of actual assault, but they were played down by the authorities, and charges were never pressed. There was one incident at the time, however, that went far beyond the pushing and shoving stage and crossed into the line of ugly mob violence directed at one of the area's largest property owners. On November 3rd, 1846, a group of enraged and, we can only presume, drunken villagers mounted an assault on the island estate of Mr. Lazarus Grimm, inflicting substantial damage to the mansion and adjacent outbuildings. More importantly, during the course of this raid, the main house was put to torch, and Mr. Grimm, a widower, and his 3 servants were reported to have perished in the flames. As in all the minor cases which preceded it, the investigation into the incident was half-hearted at best, and no satisfactory conclusions were ever reached. This, of course, was due to the small-town mentality, which... who's writing this? To small-town mentality, which caused the townsfolk to band together against the outsiders, whom they perceived to be wallowing in their wealth while they, the townsfolk, suffered. However, the incident at Grimrock Isle seems to have been the culmination of hostilities between 2 groups, and once the initial furor of the event died down, life more or less returned to normal in Dove's Bay. It is perhaps fortunate that Mr. Grimm had no heirs to press for a more thorough investigation of the raid, for had such been the case, the situation in that little hamlet would only have worsened until it resembled the range wars of the Old West. 2, the vast improvement in the local fishing industry helped cool things off considerably. With the boats coming in with full holds, there was enough food and enough profit to see these hard-working families through another winter. Still, it was not until 1848 that the estate owners began summering in Dove's Bay once more, fearing their presence would generate a resurgence of old hostilities. No war, but class war. As mentioned before, if we make another successful library use roll, we can spend 15 minutes at entry 47. I say we go for it. Yeah, there's a little extra hidden stuff. Easy, 29. So it is now 2:45. It didn't look like we got any research points for that. Oh, no, yeah, we did. We got 5. So our total research point is 21 research points. And we get to spend additional 15 minutes at entry 47. 47. You may read handout G113. And this is worth 10 RP. So that's pretty great. So let me go ahead and just make that note. And then we're getting out G113. Though it was never proven, a young fisherman named Willard Loomis, so I'm gonna write that down, was suspected of instigating the raid on the Grimrock Isle estate in 1846. Like many others, Loomis clung to the superstitions of the past, and on many occasions went so far as to publicly accuse Mr. Lazarus Grimm of witchcraft. Indeed, it is known that he held Mr. Grimm to be responsible for the great storm of All Hallows Eve of that year. The storm caused much property damage, destroying over 20 boats and causing the deaths of 6 men from Dove's Bay alone. Small wonder then that the hostilities were high during that period. Okay, that's interesting. So Willard Loomis suspected of instigating assault on Grimm Manor. Class war, suspected of causing All Hallows Eve storm, which killed 6. So killing 6 thing is interesting. It's possible that like the fathers of those 6 people or what have you. Just so you know, research points are not currency. They just contribute to what ending they get. They're essentially points. So I'm trying to get the greatest number of research points in order to get the good ending. And I can end whenever I want. Whenever I want to, I can go back to the guy and say, hey, I figured it out. He's dead. And then I would go up there with my 31 research points. And I think anything less than 150, the message you get is find another job. You are not a good investigator. So now we can go back to 88. Okay. So there are two things we could research here. It's only it's 2:45 p.m. We still have City Hall closes at 5, which I'd like to get to today. We can research other, which I think is very funny. Um, or we can research a cult, which like I've got to research a cult. That is worth an hour of my time, I think. And then we're gonna get out of here and go to City Hall and maybe come back to the library to research other next time. So this makes it 3:35 p.m. And this is entry. We also had to think about eating at some point. We have to eat 2 meals a day. It takes an hour. I'm thinking after City Hall we can eat because then we can still go to the bar and the sheriff's office to check police records. So let's see if I get a cult, which I do. That's 66. Yeah, I'm looking out on those. At one point, those will definitely fail me, but so far they have not. These are my very pretty orange dice that are hard to read. They don't have they just have indentations, but this is my favorite color, so I got those. 16. I may read GI 15. If you care to pass another half hour researching, I may do so. Interesting. Okay. Can we afford that time-wise? Yes. That'll put us at only at 4:05 p.m., which still gives us enough time to get to City Hall. And it's only Monday. We have 2 weeks. So let's read G1 15. Of all the witch cults existing, or rumored to be existing in the New England area during the 1800s, the one which seems almost impossible to document is the one which reputedly operated in Doves Bay, Maine. Research into this coven was hampered by a marked scarcity of facts and the natural reluctance of the natives, or natural reluctance of the relatives of the suspected cultists to talk about their ill-starred ancestors. It was widely suspected, though never proven, that the leader of this cult was one of the wealthy elite, whose posh estates dot the waters of Doves Bay. But again, there's no concrete evidence to support this theory. And this is Coffee Table Books of New England Witchcraft. So there is a cult at play that is specific to Doves Bay. Bay cult said to be led by one of the wealthy elites. Okay, and we're going to do that extra half hour of research, putting us at 4:05 p.m., not least of which, because if we get it, which is 70% chance, which so far is held out, we get 5 extra research points. We got none just for doing that. And that's a 12, which puts us now at 36 research points. Okay. We're killing it, guys. So on a success, go to 401. Near the end of the book. You may read handout G116 and then return to 88, which gives us 10 extra. So it was 5 actually just for reading that last thing, 10 for doing this. So 46 RP. Keep in mind you have to get 275. It's also we're going to stop getting research points. I feel like at some point, like when we're just going, there will be dead ends. The library is going to be a big source of research. It was G116. What was that? There's a cool looking cemetery we're going to get to as well at some point. I'm looking forward to that. Maybe we'll go there at night and get spooked. G116. Okay. In the spring of 1843, so this was 3 years before the estate burned down, the Boston police raided what was at first thought to be a meeting of some local witch cult being conducted in a warehouse owned by Captain Lazarus Grimm of Doves Bay, who claimed ignorance of the ceremony. Love it. The police quickly discovered that this was no coven, but an obscure cult worshipping an equally obscure god called Dagon. a name of obviously Greek origins. No mention of this deity is to be found in any of the conventional tomes or occult lore, so it can be assumed that this was a pseudo-religion created by some 19th century charlatan. Determining this to be the case, all participants were fined for trespassing and released. The names of the arrestees were as follows: Amos Johnson, Gilbert Martyr, Louis March, Festus Killeen, Fred Cleats, Clyde Block, Jerome Waddles, Nathan Jeffers, Zachariah Martins. Jerome Waddles is the name, that's one of the streets. The leader of the cult escaped during the raid, and since the cultist refused to divulge his name, he was never identified. Okay, love it. So, going to jot down those names in interest of due diligence. Sorry for not making the most exciting video while I do that. So 3 years prior to fire, Grimm's warehouse housed a gathering of a cult who worshipped Dagon. We're going to definitely get some fishmen in this. Arrestees: Amos Johnson, Gilbert Martyr. Everyone who has a street named after them. Louis March, Festus Killeen, Fred Cleats, Clyde Block, Jerome Waddles, Nathan Jeffers, Zachariah Martin, Steenenbonenwitz. Okay. Cool. Pretty excited about that. Yeah, everyone should play Dark Corners of the Earth right now, after the stream. I've been thinking about replaying that as well at some point, before they put out the new Call of Cthulhu game, which looks legit. Okay, so we can make it to City Hall. We'll have to research another day if we run out of leads. It's going to take us 15 minutes to get to City Hall, which then puts us at 4:20 p.m. We will blaze it on over to City Hall to check out the records. And that's number 96. Okay. City Hall. The legal records of Dove's Bay are ordered and reasonably well preserved, dating back well beyond the 1840s. For every half hour you spend here searching through the town records, you may make a library use roll up to a total of 6 rolls. For each roll you succeed in, consult the entry for which you made the roll, and then return here for further research. You may return another time to try for rolls that you missed, but you cannot make the same roll twice during a visit. There's a D6 thing, so we get kind of a random thing. If you know the name Jeffrey Thomas Ridley and would like to learn something about him, another successful library roll will bring you here. So we don't know that name. That's not one of the arrestees. I don't think we've seen Thomas Ridley. And it's 4:20 blaze it, so we only have a half hour. I say we go for it for just one of them. Let's see if my library use roll succeeds at all, and then we'll roll the D6 and see what happens. No, 92. So failed that and spent a half hour looking up bullshit. And I imagine they will kick us out right at 5. So let me look at the directory again and check out hours. What else is going to be open? The business hours for our boarding house, that'll close by the time we get there. It takes us 15 minutes to travel anywhere. So anywhere we need to go to. The library is actually open until 9. So it would have made more sense actually to go to City Hall first. So I fucked that up. Boat rentals are open 24 hours a day. The tavern opens at 4, which we can do. The church is open. That's appealing to me. Esoteric Order of Dagon shit. Sheriff's office, bait and tackle, is open until 6. Jebediah Waddles and Clovis Block, 2 people's houses, we can actually go to. And then the cemetery, the bridge, the orchard, the lighthouse, and Hutchins Cave are all things we can go to right away. Jebediah Waddles and Clovis Block are actually not available right away. We have to do something before we can get those. Those do not have an asterisk next to them. I'm saying now would be a good time to stop and eat. I think. Eating, I think, takes an hour. It might take money. No, it doesn't look like eating takes money. And we can also sleep whenever we want to. So if we want to just go to the cemetery and get killed right away, we can just do night stuff. But I think that we'll RP this as people who decide to... Yes, exactly. Cheese and crackers. I love it. Ooh. Sorry, leg cramp. Oh my god. Ooh. I was attacked by demons. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, let's eat, which takes an hour, which puts us at 5:50 p.m. I'll make a note there that we ate. And now we can go... Sheriff's office is open for more research. We can go unwind at the bar. Thanks, Chicken Riggies. Everything will go up eventually on YouTube and stuff. And there's only 15 minutes left. If we get any, we might not even get any cool monster shit this session. Do you guys want to go to the tavern or the sheriff's office? Let's do a little bit of work before pleasure. Check out the sheriff's office. See if we can find the report for that arrest that we heard about, or any information on any of these names that we got, I think. So that puts us at 6:15 or 6:05 p.m. to travel there. Okay. Sheriff's office is 121. I wish that I had this book when I was younger. This is the kind of shit that I would like literally die for as a kid. Okay, 121. The sheriff's office is at the center of law and order in Doves Bay. A deputy is seated behind his desk going over some paperwork as you enter. We're doing a luck roll. Luck at minus 10%. That's intense. So our luck, if we look at our stat sheet, is 70. Up here. So let's see if we get below 60. Which we do. We have a 23. So success on our luck roll. 168 is what we go to. Okay, good luck. Okay. The deputy reluctantly allows you to examine some of the older reports. Ooh, la la. You will need a successful library use roll to find each one in this order. For each of these items, you must also make a successful luck at 1/2 roll. Miss, and you have to leave. Once you're done, you may thank the deputy and exit. Okay. So we have to make a library use roll, and we get to read these things in order. We're trying the first one. It doesn't say that you lose. So I think it's library use. We get to read it. Then we make a luck roll. And that's like when our luck runs out and the deputy kicks us out. So let's try. And I think that you only make, the way this reads to me is you only make the luck roll once you actually get the thing. It wouldn't make any sense for us to miss the first thing and then just immediately get kicked out after not looking at anything. But let's find out. Let's see. First one, handily wins, 50. So we get to read GI 8. A sheriff's report. On the evening of November 3rd, 1846, myself and 8 good deputies were obliged to row out to Grimrock Isle to dissuade certain townsfolk from causing harm to befall Mr. Lazarus Grimm, whom they held responsible for certain disappearances, new information, in the Doves Bay area, and did accuse him of practicing witchcraft. Tardily alerted to this mob action, we were unable to prevent the tragedy. The lower floor of the Grimm house was in flames, and by the time the blaze was extinguished, the malefactors had fled the scene in various boats, which were later reported by their owners to be stolen. The identities of 3 individuals are known, but there is no proof that can be brought against them. I strongly suspect that Willard Loomis was the instigator of these events, but again, there's no proof that I can bring against him. Of Mr. Grimm and 3 of his servants, there is no trace to be found, and though the search continues, we can only presume that they have all been slain by the fire. The servants were no locals to Doves Bay, and there is no clue as to their identities or place of origin. So it remains impossible for me to notify any next of kin. The investigation continues. This is signed by Otis Yates, the sheriff. Okay, so that suspected of kidnapping is new info. So Grimm, suspected of kidnapping, Sheriff Otis Yates. So there's a Church of Dagon. The name Lazarus Grimm sounds very Kerwin-y to me. And I would not be surprised if that's what happens, but there's a Church of Dagon in play, which makes me think that's the direction we're going. It's a class war thing, which is actually kind of cool. If the peasants are not the supernatural people, the rich people who got killed who were defending were actually the evil people. I think that'd be neat. So let's make a luck roll at half. So we need to get below 35. We've got a 1 in 3 chance of this. 52, so we don't make it. We immediately, and that took us a half hour to research that, which makes it 6:35 p.m. And we go to page 183, or entry 183. What the devil do you think you're doing? Sheriff Eckhart roars as he enters the office. Get out, and don't even think about sniffing around here again. As a source of information, the sheriff's office is now closed to you. Taking what you learned, you hastily beat a retreat to 73. Oh man, that's a bummer. So we don't get to do the sheriff's office anymore. We had our 1 chance. 73. You may now proceed to any Doves Bay location. Okay. That sheriff fucked us over. But that's okay. We got one little thing. We got 1 piece of information that seems good. Weirdly enough, no research points for that. I wonder if that's a mistake. Let me double check that just while I still have the numbers fresh in my mind, because there's no way that getting success there is worth no research points. 121. 168. Yeah, no research points for that. Dang, maybe if we had gone further down, we get some. Let us go. So we can go 6:35. We got about 10 minutes left of this episode. We can go to the bar and check out and see if there are any rumors. I want to see if there are any descendants of these malcontents who got arrested there. That seems possible. We can go. And the cemetery is always fun, but there's no reason to go to the cemetery. The business hours for the boarding house are closed, so we can't check on other people traveling in town or records there. Newspaper's open, and we can just make it to the newspaper in time. We might not get a chance to do any research there if that's how that's set up, but we might get just kind of a piece of information. I'm definitely gonna end today at the bar. Let's go to the newspaper first, though, which puts us at 6:50. We barely have enough time to do anything, but hopefully, if we have to come back tomorrow, that's okay. So, the newspaper is number 12 on here. The Doves Bay Gazette is owned and operated by Duncan Kirkcaldy, who maintains a complete file of the paper's past editions. If you wish to consult him, you may inquire at 36 or strike up a conversation. I think I do want to consult. So let's go to 36, and this is probably going to ask me if I know like a list of names, which we do. We've got a decent number of names going now, so that might be worthwhile. 36. Duncan seems reluctant. Well, I don't know. Don't like strangers coming in and messing things up. Fast talk or oratory. We do not have oratory. That doesn't show up in this edition for some frustrating reason. That was not on my character sheet, which I probably would have taken instead of fast talk. Since I feel like persuade is probably the same thing as oratory, but I think I have a 50 in both. I'm going to say persuade is going to be the same thing as oratory. Yeah, I think this was a problem with the character sheet generator I used more than the game. So I'm gonna make a call and say I can persuade him instead and act as an oratory. They actually go to different things. Failure goes to the same place, but success goes to different things. So I have a 50-50 chance of doing this persuade, which I do, and that's a 39. Success at an oratory. Go to page 61. Oh no! Duncan doesn't particularly care for your fancy highbrow attitude, but reluctantly allows you 2 hours in which to conduct your research, after which you have to leave. He points you to a narrow flight of rickety stairs, which you take down. Page 80. Do you think he's letting me do this after hours? What do you guys think? I'm reluctant to cheat. At the same time, like, pace is a thing, since I'm doing this for a stream and for an audience. What do you guys think who are still watching? This is surprisingly. So do you think he lets me hang out there after hours? Or do you think he kicks me out at closing time? I'll let you guys make the call since I cannot be trusted. I have a vested interest in researching. Hello and no. So yes, no. Tiebreaker. Third person to chime in gets it. And again, it's only Monday. We have 2 weeks. We can come back. I feel like I would house rule that if we come back, we don't have to make that oratory roll again. That he can say like, yeah, I'm going to say that we can come back and bypass that roll and automatically get to the win. So we'll take a L now. He decides not to let us stay because he doesn't like our highfalutin ways. That puts us at 7:05. Let's go have a drink. At the tavern for now, and that is where we'll end our day. So I should have actually... So going to City Hall first would have been the smart thing. See, I wasn't taking the advice and doing this strategically. But the bar might not just be for drinks. It could be for following lead. So page 24, or entry 24 is the bar. The Seaside Tavern. This little rough clapboard structure houses an equally rough collection of Doves Bay residents. Meals are 75 cents, beverages are 25 cents, and coffee 10 cents a cup. The waitress asks if you'd like a piece of apple pie. If you do, you're served 72. If not, go to page 91. So the advice, if you remember, was to not eat the apple pie. Boy, guys, this is a climactic end for this episode. Do I eat that pie? I really want to know what happens if you eat the pie, but what if you get like food poisoning and it advances time 24 hours or something? Boy, pie or no? We're gonna get a little bit further in and then come back, eat the pie. I think. Eat the pie. Don't eat it. God, the pie. The author of the story told me not to eat it. We're gonna come back and eat the pie as like a celebratory thing. I think that is a funnier thing for Dr. Phineas not to do. Is if we find some kind of piece of information we come back, and so the reason why I wouldn't eat the pie is because it's in the advice section is don't eat the pie. um, man, a lot of people are saying eat it though, and acquit it. Do we eat it? Do we acquit it? I know, but okay, let's try it. If we lose 24 hours, if we get a bad ending to this, it's gonna suck. But I'm still gonna play it on my own, so it'll only suck for the show. Okay, we're gonna eat the pie. If you do, you're served at 72. Okay. If this turns us into a fish man, I'm gonna be really excited. I know it's pie, but he said not to eat it. We're gonna find out. We'll see if you're right. Oh, here we go. This is without a doubt the worst thing you've ever had in your mouth. This wretched concoction drains you of 1 constitution point, and you'll probably be sick later tonight. You were warned. Proceed nauseously to 91. Thanks, guys. All right. What does 91 say? Okay. That is more bar stuff, but we are up on time. So we're going to join us. So let me go ahead and reduce my constitution a point. It doesn't say that's temporary or anything either. I think that stat drained me. That was the pie that cannot be named. So we're going to be in the bar. It looks like this is a preview for next week. We can join 4 ruffians playing cards, go to the bar and strike up a conversation, or sit and observe. So those are all the things we can do starting next week with our evening of being sick. And later there will probably be a thing that's like, did you eat the pie? If yes, turn to this page and go and shit your guts out for the entirety of the evening. But for now, thank you for watching. Based on this pace and us not getting through day 1, unless this picks up the pace like real fast, we'll be here for a while. So as a reminder, Choose Your Illusion 2 comes on every Friday at 3 p.m. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you guys next week. And this will all be on YouTube and all that jazz. I'm going to do something with the audio. I've been recording it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but eventually that'll come as a podcast. I just need to figure out where that has a place in the network. So thanks, everybody, and take care.